Welcome to the Care Right podcast, your go-to resource for all things elder care. Guiding us through this journey is Annalee Kruger, the founder of Care Right Incorporated, and she has been steadfastly supporting families across the United States. Each episode brings you expert insights, innovative strategies, and practical advice, ensuring that you're well equipped to provide the best possible care for your loved ones. Expect to gain valuable knowledge, learn from real-life stories, and get inspired to take action in your own caregiving journey. So buckle up as we dive into an in-depth discussion of elder care planning and together embrace the journey of caring for aging loved ones on the Care Right podcast.
Welcome to Protect Your Stuff with the Mattar firm. We're so excited to be with you this morning. Thank you for joining us on this Sunday. I'm your host, Claudia DeJesus. I'm the managing partner at the Mattar firm in Bonita Springs. And today we're so excited we have a guest on our show, and our guest will also be on next week. So if you tune in every week, these are some exciting shows, and we'll get to who our guest is in a second. We like to start every show by giving a little information about our firm and outlining the goal of our show. At the Mattar firm, we focus on asset protection and estate planning. Most people like to know how they can protect their assets from the government, long-term care costs. Maybe you have family you want to protect or protect yourself from. People like to know, what is a trust? What is the difference between a revocable and irrevocable trust? Do I need to avoid probate? Should I give my stuff away? And if so, do I have to wait those 5 years? And also people like to know, what is a power of attorney, a living will, a healthcare proxy? What do we need? Are my IRAs safe? How do I plan for disabled beneficiaries? These are all topics that we cover in the show. So anything else that anyone would like to know, we always welcome you to call our firm at 239-222-2222. Very easy phone number. Or you can submit your questions online at themattarfirm.com. So the goal of this show is really to educate the community on asset protection strategies and proper estate planning so that you can make educated and informed decisions when you're designing your estate plan. Our firm believes in education, and that's why we host our free workshops. We invite you to come to our workshops. We have several throughout the month. We have about one a week, and our workshops are called How to Protect Your Stuff in 3 Easy Steps. So if you're interested in coming to our workshop, please visit our website or go ahead and give us a call at 239-222-2222, and we'll get you registered. So today we're so excited to have Annalee Kruger from Care Right Incorporated on. She has a fantastic business that is geared towards families and seniors, and I'm going to let her describe her business because she knows it best. But I think it's really exciting, and I think it's something that really serves the community and is something that people need to hear about. So Annalee, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us, and tell us a little bit about yourselves and Care Right.
Thank you, Claudia. My name is Annalee Kruger, and my company is called Care Right Incorporated. I used to be a social worker and long-term care administrator for 23 years, and every day I had families in my office because there was a medical crisis. Mom fell, she broke her hip. Hospital says, here's a list of facilities. Go find one by this afternoon because we're discharging. And anyone who's been through these kind of events knows that that's exactly how quickly things unfold. The hospital's goal is to, as soon as you get into the hospital's goal is to get you out. Families are usually caught off guard, and they're very overwhelmed about having to make quick decisions and major decisions quickly when emotions are high and time is limited. So every day I had families in my office because of a medical crisis, and the adult children or the spouse was very unprepared for that financially, emotionally, and physically. And so most families have never had these kind of conversations about what is our actual aging plan? Where are we going to live? Who's going to take care of us, and how will care get paid? And the other thing that families typically don't have any kind of conversation about is if something should happen to me, if I get sick or if I have a stroke, here's my living will, here's my power of attorney, here's my funeral arrangements, here's my life insurance policy. Most families don't talk about those kind of things. So 8 years ago, I started Care Right with a whole mission of helping families be proactive with having these difficult conversations, preferably while things are still going well. But in reality, we are people, and people like to sometimes procrastinate into making decisions until they're forced into it.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
Go ahead.
So that's the whole mission of Care Right, is let's have that family meeting sooner rather than later. Most people know that you have more options if you plan ahead. If you wait until that medical crisis, your options are much more limited. Just like when you're getting ready to retire at age 65, you don't start seeking out your financial planner at age 64, right? Because then you don't have a lot of options.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is what we talk about with our clients. And at our workshops, we say it's never too late to start planning, but the strategy will be different. The outcome will be different. And we categorize our clients into, we have crisis planners, like what you just spoke about. You know, the rainy day has come, the unexpected has arrived. What are we going to do? How are we going to pull it all together? And then we have pre-planners who are coming in when they're healthy and anticipating, okay, you know, this rainy day may come. This is a possibility it's going to happen. So let's make sure we have all the directives in place. So it seems like the same happens in your business, right?
Absolutely. And a lot of what I end up doing is actually education, because a lot of people aren't even aware of what a living will is or what a power of attorney and why it's important to have a healthcare power of attorney and proxy. Because if something happens like a stroke and you're left incapacitated and you don't have these documents in order, then, as you know, you land in guardianship court, and that's thousands of dollars that could have been prevented if these conversations were had ahead of time and the paperwork was done ahead of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what we like to say to our clients is that, you know, an estate plan, you're taking the time, it's almost a love letter to your family. And in all of our base plans, we include the living will, and some people choose to add on a personal care plan. In your experience, having been in the long-term care business, how do facilities react to these documents? Do they like them? They prefer them?
You have to have them.
You have to have them. Okay.
That's part of the admission requirements is that they have to have a copy of it, because they need, as the facility, the oncoming facility, they need to know what your wishes are. You know, end of life, do not resuscitate. So they really want you to have those in order. And you need to have them done by a professional like your firm, because a lot of people try to skimp on their planning, and you get what you pay for. So a lot of people will do those online documents. Well, they may not be, specific for the state that you live in or your particular situation that you're in. So one of the things I always encourage families, because that's one of the things we talk about, is what do you already have in place and where are those gaps? And you have to have your legal documents in order. Otherwise, you will cause your family so much stress and being overwhelmed. And it can all be prevented if you plan ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I like to drive home to people is that when you're in a crisis scenario, and now you have to go through a guardianship proceeding to decide who is going to take control and make those medical decisions for you, you have to sort of put yourself in the shoes of being in a hospital and then thinking of being in court and spending all that money and all that time, and what is happening to your loved one that's either in the hospital and getting discharged and now home because you're waiting to make a decision, or they're sitting there and time is of the essence. So essentially, when you have a crisis, you don't have time to go through surrogates court and the legal system and guardianship and the whole proceeding. So definitely making sure you have your legal directives in place is huge. And the services that Care Right offers, I just think is invaluable.
And it's important to have these kind of conversations at any point, because sometimes families will say, well, things are going well for us right now. We know that mom or dad are slipping, but things are still going okay. And I said, that's perfect. This is the time to meet, because I said, I can promise you or guarantee you that things are not going as well as you think they are, because parents like to protect each other and cover. So you may not know that dad is falling a lot, or you may not know that mom's dementia is much more progressed than what you thought. And one of the things when I meet with families, and I meet with families all across the United States, so they don't have to just be here in Florida, because I leverage technology, because kids live everywhere now.
Sure.
The days of people living in the same time zone are long gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so 9 times out of 10, though, when I'm meeting with these families and I ask them, bring your long-term care insurance, bring your life insurance, bring your advanced directives with you, because you need to review those so that you at least know what you have for coverage. And a lot of times those documents are out of date. You know, they still have a spouse listed as the agent, and he's been dead for 8 years. And so I always encourage families. I know sometimes they're instructed every 2 to 3 years. I like to do things every year. Make sure that you review those documents, because you never know if you need to access them quickly. You need to know what those documents are, who you have appointed as your agent, And if you need a long-term care insurance, if you need to activate that, you want to know ahead of time what that coverage is versus trying to find all that out on the fly is really an uncomfortable feeling.
Right, absolutely. And when it comes to long-term care insurance, I like to tell people, look, it's fantastic. It's a piece of the puzzle, but you cannot rely on it because it typically will not cover the full cost of a facility. So I know that we spoke before the show on how in Florida, the average facility is costing about just shy of $9,000. $8,944 is the amount that the government puts out. And typically, my experience with long-term care policies is that they will pay out around $5,000. So I am always bringing up to the clients, you have to think of who's making up for that deficit and what assets you're going to pull from to make up for that. Something that I know that CareRight offers that I absolutely love is the guidance for the grab and go binder. I love when you have talked about that because everyone, especially the fact that we are in Florida and we've got natural disasters more prevalent than like my hometown of Buffalo, which is, besides a snowstorm, very few natural disasters. So I love the grab and go binder, and I want you to talk a little bit more about that. And we give our clients all of their legal directives in one place so that in case of an emergency, they can just take it and go, and or if they're on their way to the hospital, whenever that situation arises, they can just take those documents and have them handy. And then on top of that, it always helps that we're in a digital age and the firm is able to have all of that readily accessible. So
right. And just a couple of things about the grab and go binder. One of the reasons I incorporate that into my service offerings is because working in long-term care, these families were truly caught off guard and they didn't have any of those documents in order. So having everything organized and in one place is going to be very helpful and save yourselves time, money, and stress.
That's fantastic. And we're going to take a quick break. Remember that if any of this is resonating with you, please give us a call, 239-222-2222 for the Mattar firm. Annalee, go ahead and give us your number at CareRight.
It's 239-770-6322.
Great. And we'll take a break and we'll be right back. Thank you.
Has your spouse or parent recently been admitted to a nursing home? Are you interested in protecting your family's financial assets? Call the Mattar firm to attend a free workshop entitled How to Protect Your Stuff in 3 Easy Steps. The Mattar firm focuses on helping families with asset protection using the firm's Medicaid pre-planning and crisis planning system. Call the Mattar firm at 239-222-2222 to attend the free workshop. Law office in Bonita Springs. Call 239-222-2222.
Welcome back to Protect Your Stuff with the Mattar firm. We are so excited to have Annalee Kruger from CareRight Incorporated with us today. Before the break, we were talking about a bit of what CareRight offers and also about the grab and go binder. So it's really important to have your legal directives readily accessible. And Annalee is going to talk about what else she includes in the grab and go binder. From the Mattar firm's perspective, we like to give our clients everything, all of their documents, their power of attorney, healthcare proxy, living will, personal care plan, and any trust that they may draft in one binder so that they have it ready to go. And so Annalee is going to talk a little bit more about that and what she can offer.
So in the grab and go binder is not only their legal stuff, which they usually have their own like big legal binder if they've come from your organization, but other things that people should think about putting in there is like, who are the list of physicians? Where does mom or dad get the pharmacy? What pharmacy do they use? What does the long-term care insurance policy cover? Who's the contact person? What is the life insurance? If there's life insurance, who is the provider, the carrier of that? And then any online accounts. With this being the digital age, some people are doing all their online banking, or they have Facebook accounts or Amazon, or like with me, I have a whole bunch of Marriott points and Southwest miles. If something happened to me, those are online assets that people don't even think about. Yeah. And then just shutting down those accounts. So So those are just a few more things, a few more tips that if you want to put your own grab and go binder together, think about who are those doctors. Because I can tell you that if your parents live down here, or if you live down here, your adult children may not know who your medical providers are because they don't live here. And so it's really important to give your family a peace of mind, knowing that, okay, here's everything that you need to know about me. Here's my mortician. Here's my funeral arrangements. All of those things are the biggest gift that you can give your family. And this isn't just for people that are 80 or 90 years old. Everyone should have a grab and go binder because you never know when life is going to throw you a curveball. And every time I hear those ambulances, I think two things. Number one, I hope they've had some family conversation about what's our plan if something happens to me. And second of all, I hope they have their grab and go binder because otherwise their kids are going to be scrambling, trying to find all this stuff that the hospital will require. And if you can't find it, then you have to pay more money because it's going to have to be redone.
Absolutely.
So to try to be organized is going to save you time and lots of money and lots of stress.
Absolutely. One of the most important things that I believe in the grab and go binder is the healthcare proxy because that is a document that is last in time, first in right. And what I mean by that is if you have gone to, if you are a client of Care Rights or a client of the Mattar firm and you've taken the time to make a healthcare proxy, you have taken the control to decide who is going to make those decisions for you and also list out, okay, do you want to be resuscitated? Do you want 2 weeks of this, and then after that, maybe pull the plug, whatever your decisions may be. And if you don't have those documents when you're hospitalized in a crisis and your family member isn't aware that you've taken the time to plan that, they might fill out a general healthcare proxy form at the ER or at the doctor's office. And what has that done? It's now negated everything that you've planned. So I always tell people, not only do you probably want to fax or email, and we as your lawyers can do it, I'm sure Care Right does it for their clients, get your primary care physician, get your doctors on board with knowing, hey, I have a healthcare proxy. This step has already been taken so that when a crisis arises, you're not relying on the doctors at the ER who don't know you and they don't know what you want out of what your directives are.
One of the biggest things that I see with families is that mom and dad might get their living will and their power of attorney and their healthcare proxies done, but they don't communicate that to the kids.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So it's all about that communication piece and going into detail about, okay, well, I'm comfortable if I need to have a feeding tube, I'm okay with that for 2 weeks. But if no results, then let's get rid of it. So as long as you have everything documented and communicated, and that's where I see the shortfall with families, is they forget to communicate those things to their kids. And when you're the adult child and you get that phone call that, hey, dad's in the hospital, he had a stroke, you're not thinking clearly. And so the more that you can have these kind of conversations, even though they're uncomfortable, the better everyone will have a better outcome. And that's the first step with Care Right is let's have these conversations. Let's put a plan together. And then do you need someone to help oversee your loved one? Or are you a burned out caregiver and you need additional education and support on how to kind of get your life back on track?
Absolutely. And I know that it's a huge piece of the puzzle to make sure that everyone's on the same page in terms of, I'm imagining you've had clients that come in from out of town. They have no idea who mom and dad's doctors are. What has the latest treatment been? A month ago, they might have gone to their primary for this and never told the child. So communication is huge and planning is just so huge. And we like to tell people that no matter what service you're getting, when it comes to planning for the future and estate planning, it really should be so personalized, right? It's not boilerplate. I'm sure your clients, you don't offer the same thing to everyone in terms of you customize things for the family. And that's exactly how an estate plan should be. If you're going to someone who's saying, no, this general healthcare proxy or this power of attorney is the only document you need and it's the same for everyone, then you have to seek other help because these are documents that we like to say you design, you personalize, you put it into what fits your family unit.
Yep. And with Care Right, the whole family is the client. So it's not just mom and dad, it's everyone. And so we're also care advocates. So we go with our clients to their doctor's appointments. We arrange home care services and oversee the home care companies. We get Lifeline implemented. So that's all part of that assessment and that planning piece of what's working well, what's not working well, what are the gaps with the family relationships, what are the gaps with the family planning. And so we oversee pretty much the whole family. And so that's why we have those monthly ongoing care packages, so that when we go to the doctor's appointments with mom or dad, then we can communicate back to the adult children so that when they get a phone call, there's no surprises of, oh my gosh, so where are things at?
Yeah.
So that way everything is a smooth transition. I always say you would hope that the aging process brings families together, but in my almost 30-year career, I've seen it do the opposite. And it's mostly because families don't communicate.
Right. And there's no planning.
And there's no plan. And so you can't plan if you're not communicating. And you have to work as a team, as a family. You really need to work as a team. They always say it takes a village to raise a child, but it takes a team approach. If you have aging parents, it takes a team approach. And that's one of the things I really value about working with your firm is we work as a team. So everything is seamless. And that way the client knows that it's like, okay, Claudia is going to handle my legal stuff. Care Right is going to handle my healthcare, caregiving, care coordination piece. And we work together as a team on that. And that gives people peace of mind.
Absolutely. And that is something that's huge, is that, estate planning, the aging process is not transactional, right?
No.
It doesn't end after you draft your documents, or after you have your grab and go binder. That's not when it ends. It's holistic, and you need to have people who work together. I know we both work also with getting the financial advisor in the mix, because how are we going to plan for your aging without also incorporating who you've entrusted your retirement with or your life earnings? So I know that we have like-minded firms and companies in the sense that we see the family as the entire client. We want our clients to, the kids to feel comfortable calling and say, hey, this now happened. What did mom and dad plan? Do you have these documents for me? Can you email them to me? We want everyone to be on the same page, and I know that you do the same thing in terms of inviting any outside influences. If you want your financial advisor to come to a meeting, that's fine. You want your CPA to come to a meeting, that's fine. We are here to service you, and we're not going to cut that off by saying, nope, we're the only piece of the puzzle, because it's just that's not accurate, right? That's not fair. Yeah.
And if you're a family caregiver to an aging loved one, or you're a caregiver to, if you're the spouse of someone who's ill or has memory impairment, that is never ending. That caregiving role is never ending, and it's only going to progress, because the aging process is very bumpy. It's not very smooth. There's lots of hospitalizations, lots of falls, lots of in and out of doctor's appointments, and it can be very bumpy. And so one of the things I wanted to touch on quickly is just kind of the cost of caregiving.
Absolutely.
So what I know is, because who normally calls me for services is the burned out caregiver, and it's usually the adult child. Mm-hmm. And they're usually flying from up north down here every couple months, because that's how often mom's in the hospital, or that's how often dad needs help because, your mom has dementia. So the cost of being a caregiver, the average income lost by being a caregiver every year due to caregiving of an aging loved one is 33%. So a 33% loss of income. Caregivers that missed work time in some way in 2010 was 64%. And in 2015, it's up to 77%. And that's only going to increase because we have such an aging population. And so if you're a family member out there, please make sure that you contact either Claudia or you contact me at Care Right to really have some conversation about what is the plan, because this will snowball very quickly, and you have to have a plan. Otherwise, you're going to suffer emotionally, physically, and potentially financially, because you don't know what you don't know.
Absolutely. And likewise, in a crisis scenario, that's really when, as a law firm, we're dealing with the adult child, is because the mom or dad is already in a home or is in the ER and being transitioned out. Next week, Annalee will be joining us again. We're going to focus on memory care, which is huge here in Southwest Florida. We're going to be talking about the issues families face when we have early onset dementia or Alzheimer's. Thank you so much for listening. You have been listening to How to Protect Your Stuff with the Mattar firm. We invite you to come to one of our workshops. You can check out all our different workshop dates at themattarfirm.com. And our phone number is 239-222-2222. And likewise, Care Right Incorporated. What's your website, Annalee?
www.carerightinc.com. careghightinc.com, CARERIGHTINC.com, and my phone number is 239-770-6322.
Fantastic, and thank you, and we look forward to all of our listeners joining us next week.
Thank you for tuning in to the Care Right podcast. We hope today's discussion has provided you with valuable insights. If so, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share our podcast with others who might find it helpful. Remember, Care Right is more than just a podcast. It's a community dedicated to supporting family caregivers with comprehensive care planning, crisis management, and resources for every stage of aging. Stay connected with us for future episodes as we continue to explore essential topics in aging planning, elder care, and financial planning. Until next time, take care, plan wisely, and remember, you're not alone in your caregiving journey.